So you want me to say this is local leaders? You mean that's your show or something?
Yeah, so just read it from the top.
Hi, I'm John Bramnick, and I'm a Republican candidate for governor, and this is Local Leaders.
In 30 seconds or less, what's your backstory?
So I grew up in Plainfield, went to Plainfield Public Schools, went to Syracuse undergraduate, studied political science, then went on to Hofstra Law School, became a lawyer for the city of New York, but decided to go back to my hometown in Plainfield. My dad had a store in Plainfield. I ran for city council. And from then on, I went into the legislature, became an Assembly Republican leader, and then a New Jersey state senator.
What inspired you to run for governor?
Run for governor? My wife made me do it. So what happened was I had been a councilman, an Assembly, the Republican leader, a senator, and I went home and I said, "You're thinking about running for governor?" And she goes like this, "Finish the job." I said, "What?" "Well, you had all this experience. You've been out of the house for 25 years, every night going to a different event. You gonna leave that experience over here and just not finish the job?" I said, "What?" She goes, no, you're not gonna go out and play golf. You're not gonna just have fun. You're gonna finish doing what you're supposed to do. It's community service, now finish the job. So here I am, finishing the job.
Inspiring. What's your take on how New Jersey should handle congestion pricing?
Well, this is, in my view, really horrendous activity by the state of New York and by the city of New York. I mean, to tax people coming into the city, I mean, I believe it violates the Interstate Commerce Clause, because every other bridge, every other tunnel, even in South Jersey, is a joint commission. Like down there, it's between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Up here, it's New York and New Jersey and the Port Authority. This kind of tax that New York puts on because they're having financial problems, we're going to end up doing the same thing to them. You want to tax New Jersey people coming over there? We're going to tax you coming over here. I mean, really, it's to me, it's really a shot across the bow from New York, and I think it's a disgrace.
How do you plan to protect small businesses from the impact of tariffs put in place by the current administration?
Well, there's a good question. Look, I'm not going to be a congressman or a United States senator. I'm going to be the governor. I don't control tariffs. You know, that's up to the president and members of Congress. What I can do is be a voice. If small business comes to me and says, hey, listen, this specific tariff is affecting New Jersey, I'm happy to speak out. You know, talk to my representatives in Washington or to the president directly, but I don't control tariffs. I do control my own voice, and if I see something that's not good for New Jersey, you don't have to worry about me speaking out.
The current administration has already been combative with several state governors. How would you work with the federal government while standing up for New Jersey's values?
Oh, as a governor of the state of New Jersey, I will respect the office of the presidency. If there's something that is not good for New Jersey, and I've said this for the last year and a half, I'll be happy to stand up and speak on behalf of New Jersey, whether the president is a Republican or Democrat. Simple as that. I'm going to do it respectfully, but everybody knows when I have to fight, I'll fight for New Jersey first, whether it's Republican or Democrat. My job is to protect New Jersey, so I will take whatever actions necessary in a respectful and civil way, or if it hurts New Jersey, I'll take action.
If you had to choose between lowering income taxes or property taxes, which would you pick and why?
Well, property taxes affect everyone more than the state income tax, though I wouldn't choose between either of them. In order to compete with Florida, which has no state income tax, you want to keep people in the state, and these are sometimes the wealthier people, you got to lower New Jersey state income tax. The property tax has to do with giving more money either directly back to citizens or to the municipality or to the boards of education. You can actually do both. You can cap state income tax, and you can stop what I call Christmas tree spending on the eve of every budget that we do. Instead of giving $1 billion to your friends, give it directly back to either municipalities, boards of education, or to individuals. So, I don't like choosing between either. I think you can do both, some of both. Not going to eliminate either, but you can affect both of them.
Why should someone from South Jersey vote for you?
I don't think South Jersey, North Jersey, Central Jersey, Jersey. I don't think no matter where you live, I think what they want is somebody who's authentic and speaks to 75% of people in New Jersey. So I'm going to treat South Jersey just like I treat North Jersey exactly the same way. So it's about authenticity. My answers haven't changed in 20 years in the legislature, and they're not going to change when I'm governor. If you want somebody who's just partisan and uses talking points, I ain't your guy. Go get a talking point partisan guy, and as governor, your decisions have to do with the state of New Jersey and the people who live here. It's not necessarily loyalty to one party or the other.
We're just going to transition now into a rapid fire section.
That's my favorite, rapid fire.
Awesome. So it's just off the cuff, no answering questions with a question. Authentic, just like how you said it.
Well, go ahead. My favorite color is...
Who's your favorite New Jersey musician?
Bruce Springsteen.
Taylor Ham or Parker?
Taylor Ham.
Rutgers or Seton Hall?
It's not really fair, but I'll go with Rutgers because it's a state university.
Does Central Jersey exist?
Of course it does.
Is $6 too much for a latte?
It's ridiculous. You should get eggs, some juice, some home fries, and some coffee for $6. You ever see the kid from Brooklyn? Yeah, go ahead. $6 for a latte. I paid $8. It's a little old.
Giants or Jets?
Giants, 100%.
If you were stuck in a sinkhole, what Bruce Springsteen song would you sing?
I probably wouldn't be singing.
Wawa or Quick Check?
No, I'm not going to get involved in these two businesses. That's not right. I mean, if I'm a governor of New Jersey, I got to love both of them. I like the name Wawa because it's sounds like a baby crying. But I'm not picking between two private businesses in Jersey.
Parkway or Turnpike?
Oh, I like the Parkway because no trucks.
Favorite New Jersey news publication?
Ooh, geez, wow. That one I'm definitely not touching. Favorite, that's great. Now you have 99% of the news organizations going like this. That's what Bramnick said? That's out. Oh, wait a minute, what's the name of your news organization?
Towns of?
Towns of, which is the first time I ever heard of them, but that's my favorite today.
What's your favorite coffee shop?
It used to be Robert Treat in downtown Westfield, where the guy used to mix the coffee with his finger I thought that was delicious. I like the diners, I like Vicky's, I like the Westfield Diner, and I really miss Robert Treat. I mean, that was depressing because that's where we all hung out.
What town in New Jersey do you think has the prettiest Main Street?
What is this competition between the towns? I ain't picking between towns. No way. Now, I'm from Plainfield. I'm a Plainfield guy. Okay, I live in Westfield now. I'm a Plainfield guy. But I ain't picking between towns, man. You really want to see this other towns thing? This troublemaking operation.
Pizza or bagels?
Pizza.
Would you live at a New Jersey mall?
Would I live there?
Yeah.
I guess if there was no other place to live and let's assume the only thing left was the New Jersey Mall, and it was 2 degrees outside, right? And there was no other structure to live in. I figured they're going to kick me out when they close the mall. I don't know how you're going to live in there, but it's an interesting question. I probably live in one of the stores that sells food.
You're heading down the shore. Where do you go?
I go Seaside Park.
What are your thoughts on Connecticut?
Can't, I don't hard to spell it. Got too many N's, too many T's, too many C's. They got to make that a little easier to spell. That's my thought.
Give a shout out to your favorite restaurant.
Oh, that's pretty easy. Sweetwater's in Westfield. Sorry, I am picking on that one because I go there a lot. Sorry.
Should New Jersey pump its own gas?
They should have an option. So I got a bill that says, if you want to pump your own gas, you can, but there has to be somebody to pump the gas for you if you don't. Options, baby.
What town in New Jersey do you think is the most underrated?
Oh, man. No clue. No clue.
Would you support expanding NJ Transit to more of the Jersey Shore in Atlantic City?
Absolutely. Just give me the money. It's going to take federal money to fix New Jersey Transit. State doesn't have enough money to do that, and we're going to get we have to get Congress involved and the president, and incredible infrastructure investment is needed.
What are your thoughts on beach badges?
I'm not too big on beach badges. I don't like the concept of having a badge. It kind of puts the damper on the whole experience. And when I do go to this place, you can buy a badge. I mean, it's like a hall pass in 8th grade, man. It's funky. I'd rather see the money come from the state or from some third party, but walking around with it, here's the cops going to show me your beach badge. I can't be on a beach without some badge. Maybe they can just tattoo some on your finger or something. I don't like carrying. I'd lose it. That's the other thing. I'd lose the badge. I don't like beach badges.
With the Department of Education potentially being eliminated, how will you ensure that this doesn't impact New Jersey's high-performing public schools?
Well, you're talking about the federal Department of Education. I'm going to have the State Department of Education. That's what I'm in charge of, not the federal department. What I'd be concerned about is a reduction of aid from the federal government to New Jersey, where we'd have to go into surplus or try to find money, because we fund the schools and we spend a lot of money funding the schools. So, but I can't tell you what impact the federal Department of Education is going to have on New Jersey. I'd rather set the policies anyway than let the feds set policies in New Jersey, but I also want the money.
What's your plan to make New Jersey more affordable for the middle class?
Well, I'm going to stop doing these Christmas tree pork spending that the Democrats do in the middle of the night on the last day of June. As all of you know, that in June we have to do a budget. But of course, no one sees the budget, or most of the budget, until the night before, and that's when the Democrats get in a little bit of a caucus and start splitting up the spoils. And you know how much they spend? $1 billion. All of a sudden, some museum gets some money. Then there's money for unspecified property acquisitions in certain towns. This is how it works. And if you take that $1 billion and you spend it for the general public and not for specific friends in the Democratic Party, that's going to give us a lot of extra money to give back.
Do you think the Republican Party is any different?
Do I think so? I know they're different. Because look at Chris Christie's budget versus Phil Murphy's budget. Phil Murphy had budgets that went up 11% in 1 year. Chris Christie's budget, minimal increases over his 8 years.
Should NJ state and local law enforcement assist in ICE raids?
I think they have to cooperate, and here's why. If the federal government has a law that says you're here illegally, now to me, I'd want a path for citizenship. Why the federal government doesn't do a path for citizenship for people who've been here for 30 years, paid their taxes, let them do community service, put them in the military, let them pay fines. But the law is the law. And to me, I always follow the rules. So if there is a request from the federal government to cooperate with the federal government on a national law, a federal law, I think you're required to do so. If I passed a law as a governor or signed a law, and all of a sudden some town, let's say Asbury Park, goes, oh, no, we don't like that one. We're not going to cooperate with the state police. You're not? Once again, I don't like every law to exist, but I follow them.
What sets you apart from the other candidates?
Well, experience to begin with. Now, of course, experience in politics is frowned about. I've been an urban councilman. I was a legislator in the Assembly for 17 years, the Republican leader. This is my 5th year in the state Senate. I've worked with every governor. I pretty much know every part of state and local government. I come with a massive amount of experience. Also, I'm going to answer the question not necessarily to win a primary. I'm going to answer a question that I would answer in the same way if I was governor of the state of New Jersey, meaning that not every one of my answers is going to be partisan. And I think I appeal to 75% of people in New Jersey. And I don't think you have to be harsh. I don't think you need mean rhetoric. I don't mean to be us versus them. And this is not new for me. I've been in the legislature pushing civility for 2 decades. I think a lot of the candidates running against me are focusing solely on certain voters. I'm never going to do it. And if that means you lose a primary, that's fine. I'm going to be the same way I've been for the last 20 years, and I think that's the difference. I'm not trying to talk to just certain voters. I'm talking to everybody in Jersey, and I don't have any talking points. I've watched the other candidates. I don't dislike any of them, actually. I think they all bring something to the table. But they're very careful to stay on their talking point. I ain't doing talking points. I'm doing how I feel about an issue.
Will you continue to protect access to reproductive health care in New Jersey, including safe and legal abortion?
I've always been a pro-choice Republican. That doesn't mean I believe in late-term abortion. The reason there is some issues around late-term abortions because if you had a woman involved in an accident and a doctor had to decide whether to abort the fetus or save the mother, I want to be careful about that kind of legislation. But generally speaking, late-term abortion, not where there's a medical decision, I do not support, but I've always been pro-choice. That's between a woman and the doctor and their religion. I think Republicans should do as little as possible when it comes to legislating people's individual rights.
In the spirit of bipartisanship, can you share something Governor Phil Murphy has done that you agree or support?
Well, he came to my house when I had all the comedians in New Jersey after COVID. I've gotten a little trouble for that. But all the comedians in New Jersey weren't getting any gigs, right? So I got 25 New Jersey's comedians, and I had Phil Murphy come over with actually Don DeFrancisco and Dick Cody, and we had a night, it was a bipartisan night, make New Jersey funny again, right? So I think that works. I think Tammy Murphy worked on maternal health, and that's to help, especially in urban centers, make sure that women get care, prenatal care for their fetus or their child or their pregnancy. I think that's been good. I think he's fought the congestion pricing. He's gone to court for congestion pricing. I would agree with that. I think that what he does well is he is not mean-spirited. You may disagree with his taxing policy, but he tries to do it in a civil way. He doesn't even attack people. He doesn't do a lot of attacking on the other side of the aisle or on his side of the aisle. I think that's, I respect him for that, though we get together. I probably disagree with a whole host of other things, like cutting funding for certain schools, for my judgment, because they're actually Republican districts in like Ocean County. That's a major mistake. But generally speaking, I get along with them well, and people say that's wrong. And I fight that 100%. You can get along with anybody.
If you're chosen to be the next governor, what's the most important thing you hope to accomplish?
First, I want to make sure we're competitive, because in New Jersey, there's a lot of businesses that don't want to come here because they can't find their energy needs. They don't like the tax structure. Housing's too expensive. So I want to bring in more and more businesses in the state so they pay more and more taxes and we pay less and less. So it's really about reducing costs, but you reduce costs by creating a favorable business environment. So that will be a high priority. I will go out and physically bring in the business people like this, coming to New Jersey. Put them in a headlock.
Put them in a headlock. Nice meeting you.
Good to see you, man.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, good. Get the latest on what's happening in New Jersey. Download the Towns of app with the link below.